What makes a spiritual connection truly authentic? You know, it's a question a lot of us think about. And today, we're going to dig into this really powerful idea that says the answer, well, it's not in some grand ritual or complicated belief system. Nope. It's in one simple but honestly profound distinction.
All right, so let's just ask it straight up. What really defines an authentic spiritual relationship? What's that one thing that separates a genuine connection from something that, well, might just be us going through the motions, maybe even fooling ourselves?
And the answer we're exploring today suggests it's not so much about what you believe, but how you hold that belief. It really all boils down to your fundamental posture, your whole orientation toward the divine.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The whole thing hinges on these two completely opposite ideas. Are you using God or are you being used by God? Now, at first glance, they might sound kind of similar, right? But trust me, the difference between them is, well, it's everything. Let's start by breaking down that first path. So, this first route, the whole using God approach, it's all about pride. But hold on, we're not necessarily talking about arrogance or boasting, the usual stuff we think of. It's something way more specific to this kind of relationship. Yeah, check this out. Pride in this context isn't just about your ego. It's an active attempt to manipulate, to control, or to leverage the divine. Just think about that for a second. It's literally trying to make a higher power work for your agenda, to serve your purposes. And here we see what that looks like in action. The goal is to manipulate and control, and it's almost always for some kind of personal gain. What's missing? Any real submission, any genuine trust. At the end of the day, it's about wanting to be the one in the driver's seat, pulling all the strings. So really, the bottom line is this. That posture, that entire way of being, is defined by self-interest. The relationship becomes a tool, a means to an end, and that end is always the person's own goals and desires. Okay, now let's flip this completely on its head and look at the other side. All right, let's pivot now to the second path, which is the total opposite of everything we just talked about. This is the being used by God approach, and its foundation, it's all humility.
And at the heart of this whole idea is this one simple but really profound phrase. It describes a person who allows God to use him. See how that's worded? It's passive. It's a statement of surrender, not control. It's all about making yourself available.
And this gives us such a great way to think about humility. It's not about putting yourself down or thinking you're worthless. Not at all. It's a posture of availability. It's about submission to a purpose that's way bigger than you are. It's just being ready and being willing. And look at these characteristics. It's like a perfect mirror image of the prideful approach, right? It's about availability. Think of it like having open hands, ready to receive. It's about submission, which allows you to grow. And it's a willingness to be an instrument, like an empty cup ready to be filled. This, we're told, is where real wisdom and spiritual depth are found. So there we have it. Two totally distinct paths. One driven by pride, the other by humility. So now let's put them right next to each other and see just how sharp that contrast really is. This chart just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the posture. Using God versus being used by God. The whole motive shifts from chasing personal gain to serving a divine purpose. And the hallmark, the defining feature, it moves from this need for control and manipulation to an attitude of submission and availability. It's a total flip in who's serving who. So, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, one central point, it's this: humility. And we're talking about humility defined as this posture of allowing yourself to be used for a higher purpose. That is the one characteristic that confirms an authentic spiritual relationship. It's the ultimate litmus test. And so that leaves us with one last question. And this one is really for you to reflect on. This isn't about being right or wrong, it's just about honest observation. When you think about your own approach to your life, your spirituality, your purpose, which posture do you find yourself in more often? Are you trying to use, or are you open to being used? The answer just might tell you more than you think.